Hello, I'm standing in the Plaza de la Merced in the heart of Malaga's historic centre, and I've come in search of one man, Pablo Picasso, who was born here in 1881. We're going to be taking a walk through Picasso's Malaga, the places that shaped his childhood and the city that influenced his work. The story starts here. Picasso was born just beside this square, and he often played here, surrounded by the colour, noise and the rhythm of the Andalusian streets, and by the pigeons that so often featured in his work. This is the house in which Picasso was born. His father was an art teacher, and the family lived in a third-floor apartment surrounded by brushes, canvases, and the smell of turpentine. But now it is the Picasso Birthplace Museum. Unfortunately, we can't film inside, but some photos will give you an idea of what's here. You'll learn about Picasso's early life and the beginning of his artistic training, and just as important, you'll discover how Malaga was already enriched by an artistic community, a heritage that in turn shaped Picasso's own art. Crossing back over the square, we come to the Calle San Agustin, one of the oldest streets in Malaga. We'll be coming back later to look at the Picasso Museum, but for now our first stop is the Church of Santiago Apostol. We could see from the plaque beside the door that it was here that the artist was baptised. And just a little further along the street is the convent of San Agustin. In Picasso's time, this housed a museum, of which Picasso's father was curator, and an art school. The young Picasso would have been very familiar with this building. But of course, there's much of the historic centre of Malaga that the artist would have been familiar with. Some of these buildings and the streets seem hardly to have changed since his time. The colours, the heat, the shadows in the narrow streets, they were all a part of his everyday life, and they all influenced his early work. But now we're at the other side of town for something rather different, the bullring. Whatever your view of bullfighting, there's no doubt that Picasso spent a lot of time here, and that bullfighting imagery runs through his art. Not necessarily as a celebration of the fight, but as a metaphor for power, conflict and passion. Standing here, you can see how many people would have crowded into the seats, how much the bullfight was a part of life in Malaga, and you start to understand how it must have influenced the young Picasso. Now it's time to look at some of Picasso's work. We're back on the Calle San Agustin, where we can find the Picasso Museum. As you can see, it's very popular, and we need to join the queue to get in. This is one of several Picasso museums in different countries, but it does have a very good selection of his works. And what you learn as you walk around this museum is how versatile an artist he was. You'll see not just paintings, etchings and photographs, but also pottery and sculptures. You get a real sense of an artist who never stopped experimenting and pushing the boundaries of what he could do with his art. Malaga has a layered history: Phoenician, Roman, Moorish, modern. Picasso grew up in a city shaped by centuries of cultural exchange. Perhaps that's why he absorbs influences so easily, why he reinvented himself so often. Walking through Malaga, you realise how Picasso was shaped by the place, by its light, by its colour, by its history. How the place where he began never really let him go. Thank you for joining me in Picasso's Malaga. If you enjoyed this walk, subscribe for more journeys into the stories behind the places we visit.